Welcome back to another episode with your boy Frenchie at Frenchie's Forge. Today we are going to be making a blade out of a pipe wrench. This is something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time and just have not done it yet. But I woke up today and thought today's the day, we're doing it. So I have the head to the pipe wrench here. This is a 14-inch pipe wrench. It says drop forged, and I have ground off the teeth so that we don't get any cold shuts in that area. Let's go ahead and throw it in the forge and get this sucker rolling. Let's do it.
So step number one, we're putting the pipe wrench in the forge and letting it get pretty hot. Tried to get it up to a good orange heat. It's hard to tell in the video here just because I'm in the sunlight and it looks, much colder than it actually is. If I was in a room and the lights were off, this thing would be cherry red to maybe an orange. But you do want to get it pretty hot so that it only takes a couple of heats to straighten out the end of the pipe wrench. And really that's got to be step number one if you're making a knife or a blade out of one, unless you want to make like some sort of a weird 90-degree blade or a hooked blade. This is definitely got to be the first step that you do. Doing kind of the time-lapse footage here just to kind of give an idea of the time that it takes to do this. All in, I think I probably have a little over an hour forging time to get this blade, where I wanted it. And this tool here is the spring fuller tool that I made, and it works pretty good. I kind of made this, a couple months ago, not really knowing much about blacksmithing or bladesmithing, and just kind of saw one and was like, you know what, that's pretty cool, I'm going to give it a try. And now that I've used it several times, it really does do a great job at moving the metal in two different directions instead of spreading it out everywhere. It pretty much pinches it and can lengthen the material pretty easily. Anyway, I just figured I would share some of that. I'm going to let some of the text take over. Hope you enjoyed the video. right, so there we go. We got the blade annealed in the forge overnight, and should be able to make a pretty cool blade out of that. Didn't really spend a whole lot of time profiling during forging. We'll probably take it to the belt grinder and kind of shape it up here soon. Before we do that, I'm going to spend a little bit of time and let this thing soak in some 30% vinegar. And I'm hoping that that will take the majority of this forge scale off. And that way we'll be able to get back down to the bare metal. Let's do it. Okay, so here it is about 8 hours after putting it in, maybe 10 hours. I put it in this morning before I went to work, and let's check it out here. Normally I would leave it overnight or maybe a day sitting in there. There's still some forge scale on there. Quite a bit actually, but you can tell that it's starting to eat away at it. And in fact, if we just kind of scrub it down a little bit, that will help remove some of this bigger stuff on here. There we go, you can kind of see it coming off there. So we're just going to need to leave it sitting in here just a little bit longer. Let this vinegar do its thing. Let's see if we can scrub this side down. Normally you can hit it with a little bit of a brush and it will get a good majority of it off of there. And this stuff is strong. It will burn your nose hairs. That's how incredibly stout this stuff is. So there's one side, and you can see all the forge scale in the dark stuff here, and where we hit it with the brush, and then doing the back side there with the brush. So you can tell that it definitely does what it's supposed to do. It eats away at all the forge scale, gets you back to the bare metal, and it doesn't really require a whole lot of work. It's more so just kind of submerge it into the vinegar and let it sit and hang out for a bit. And the vinegar does the work for you. So we'll finish getting this thing cleaned up, and then we'll move on to profiling.
So now that we've got our initial bevels ground into this, we're ready to do some thermocycling and then heat treat it. Let's do it. Over there. Yep. Okay, so now that we've taken just a normal metal file and we've gone over the cutting edge, we're now ready to run our testing files over it. This is a 60 HRC. That is definitely skating. Let's try the 65. And that is also skating, so that's really good. That means our heat treat went really, really well. Anytime you skate a 65 HRC file, that means the metal is harder than 65, and that's pretty stinking hard. You can also hear this really loud ping sound. So that's kind of a good indication that it's hard. Now that we know that this thing is skating the 65 HRC, we're probably going to want to temper it some. I want to leave this blade pretty hard. Somewhere in the low 60s would be preferable. It's going to be kind of like a kitchen style chopper. And I kind of pre-ground the bevels a little on the thin side. This is normally a little bit thinner than I'd like to go, but I think it'll be okay. So anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and we'll throw it in the oven at about 375, 380, and we'll do that for a couple hours, and then we'll test it again and see where we're at. All right, so there you go. We've got one pipe wrench knife forged and completed. And I think for the most part, this thing turned out wicked cool. It's got that beat up, forged look to it. Is it perfect? No, absolutely not. Is it rough and forged, down and dirty blade? You betcha. And I think that this thing will be a really good addition to the kitchen, at least for a while. I'm gonna bring it in there and test the edge over time to see how it holds up. And if it does hold up, I'll most likely end up gifting it or giving it away to family or friends, or maybe one of you guys, who knows. Anyway, let me know in the comments, what do you think about it? Do you think it turned out good? Do you like the profile? What would you have done different? Let me know down below. Another thing too, in the last clip, you saw me cut some paper. This here is some Uline paper. And I get this from work because we order a bunch of stuff from Uline. This paper is really good when it comes to sharpening up your blade. When you get sort of to the final apex and you're testing to see if the blade is fully apexed, run it through some of this. You can actually start down at the bottom here and just run your blade down the paper all the way down to the tip. And what it will do is it will start to drag if you still have some burr left on it, or if it's not fully apexed. This paper will tell you that. It will let you know that you're not quite there. That's why I like having this on hand, and I like testing the finished knives with this Uline paper. It just tells you if it's good or not. And it's pretty good. I spent forever trying to get this edge done with the whetstones. It's not something that I normally do. I was trying it out. I really ought to put more time into it. I think it's a cool way to sharpen. It just takes a lot of practice doing it, I think, to become efficient at it. It took forever to get this sharp, but I think it was worth it. It's definitely a good cutter. Anyway, that's pretty much a wrap for this video. You guys, let me know in the comments what you think about it. Do you like it? Is it something that you would like to have? Would you put it in the kitchen and cut your broccoli with it? Would you cut your carrots and your broccoli with this here knife? Let me know. Also, tell me in the comments below what you'd like to see me make next. I've still got quite a few good ideas and some really ambitious things I want to try to tackle. One would be hand-forged Damascus. I have a couple of billets behind me here that are already prepped and ready to be beaded out. Heated and beaded. And then the other one would be a stainless steel San Mai. I feel like that would be super challenging and fun to try to tackle. So let me know, would you be interested in seeing me attempt those, and which one? Tell me down below. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you on the next one.